Hey, what's up, fam? It's Chappell, host of the Recap Kickback podcast, here for our final exit interview from the We Know Reality TV podcast coverage of Fox's new reality show, The Snake. With me, my lovely, amazing co-host Jenny Autumn, and the winner of season one of The Snake, Frankie. Frankie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, guys.
We are very happy to have you. Not to tip our hand a little too much, but we've been rooting from you for a very long time, and so we are
We've been
very
calling
good with
it.
this outcome.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, Frankie, we have a lot of questions, and I know we only have a little time, so I do want to jump right into the finale episode. We saw at the end you were able to get Mayor John to vote for you to be the winner of the entire game. Was there any doubt in your mind that he would pick you to win?
No. There was the John and I share a very special friendship. So I know that sometimes as he puts it, it's a trust the process kind of vibe. And I know that he is an extremely smart, strategic, and compassionate human being. So I knew once I saw him, I felt safe.
Frankie, so obviously, you get to the final two with Brett, and you probably don't really know how it's going to be determined who wins this. When you get to, the final saving ceremony and Jim reveals how the final twist is going to work and that you are basically eliminating people to have one person to decide the winner. Did you feel like you had it on lock at that point? Were you assuming, okay, we were going to eliminate the Alyssa and the Jack, but did you feel good about most of the other people that you could get someone to vote for you?
So I'm going to answer it this way. I'm going to say this. I went into this game with my mother in the back of my head because I knew any move I made, I had to sit with her and watch this play back. That being said, I did my darndest to treat every person I came in contact with kindness and compassion, grace and empathy. All that in a bow, I wasn't really that scared when it came down to it. If
Hmm.
that without sounding overly, or boastful or arrogant, um, just looking at the numbers between the two of us and knowing the way that we had interacted with them in the house, I at that point, you know, I was shocked, but it was a plausible idea in my brain.
That makes total sense. I think one key moment we saw in the finale was that you and Brett had to agree to eliminate the first person together, and that was Katherine.
Yeah.
How did you come to that decision? And do you think you made, well, obviously you made a good choice because you win, but did you think Katherine was vital to be to your game as far as getting eliminated in this spot?
So I knew that there was only a few wild cards that were in that game board, we'll call it, of the snake pit at that moment that had to be removed in order to secure my victory. And I would say at that moment, Catherine was somebody that wasn't exactly predictable. I mean, we saw the game that she played in the house, so we knew that she valued strategy and she valued competition and she valued, the more it would be seemingly the physical nature of the game because she was a strong game player, right? Whereas my strength is more genuine, authentic connections. And I think given that we operate a little bit differently, I'm not sure that she would have picked me. So she had to go.
Mm,
Frankie, so obviously your game was highly social,
Yes.
and you say it in the finale yourself. You have not won any of these snake competitions, but you're going to win this one when it matters the most. Literally the last chance to secure your spot in the finale here. I'd love to know, first of all, how did you lock in, especially, facing your leg locking up the possible quad injury there, like very, very impressive feat winning this final challenge. But also, I want to know, did you throw any other challenges besides that one, John? I
Am I,
want to
is
know.
is this is this like I could plead the fifth in these moments?
No, no,
No.
no, no, no.
I
There is no
mean,
fifth in that. No,
but
Jenny, don't
listen,
let him off the hook.
throwing challenges is a
I did.
viable
So
strategy. It's
so here's
okay.
here's what here's let me put some clarity on this, right? Because I think there's a moment in there where maybe I had a glass too many and I may have made a narrative that's interesting for viewers. So let's just
Been
let's
there.
just let's 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 set this record straight, right? Okay, so objectively, it was in my best interest to make sure somebody within my camp won, whether it be myself, Alyssa, or John. Those that was the main core camp, right?
Hmm.
John has already exhibited both intellect and fearlessness, especially in the social dynamic, that he was able to do things that maybe I was in a position I couldn't. Right. Let's talk strategy here. But the thing that people don't get to see was how passionate about this specific challenge he was, and how smiley he was. So I couldn't take it away from him.
Mhm.
This was the mongoose challenge
Yeah.
with the, yeah, when it was in the pool.
Hmm.
Yeah, you could tell he wanted it. Okay,
Hmm.
so Frankie, throughout the season, obviously we clocked you early on as one of the front runners, but
Mm.
was there any time where you felt very nervous about your position in the game, and who
Oh,
who kind of made you feel the most nervous about being eliminated in any of these saving ceremonies?
in the game, my priority was to play as best I could, but also I knew that the game was going to end. So, Alyssa, I would not have been able to do this game without her. And she was probably my saving grace and my sanity. The people that I felt were probably the biggest threatening players towards me. Um, I think it's kind of easy to say, not, nothing personal, but I would say the Bretts, the Jacks, the Derricks definitely pose a physical threat in the house when you're working with different equipment,
Mhm. Yeah,
if that
And
makes sense.
it does.
um, there was a point in the game where it at least based on what Amanda was saying about her game is that she kind of felt like she chose a side. I think this is when Devonte gets eliminated, and it seemed like she felt like she was working with you and Alyssa. She even says in a confessional that she kind of had chosen that side, but we don't really see you guys working together beyond that point. Can you talk a
Hmm.
little bit about your relationship with Amanda? Because I feel like that
Uh,
didn't really get telegraphed much from there, and I'm curious.
so it's very funny. So if you look back at the seasons, you remember in the very beginning, right? In the very beginning, day one, when there's the dinner table crew and then the people that have to go to the snake challenge, right? Amanda was a part of the dinner table. But what they don't show, which is kind of a beautiful thing and it leaves mystery and objection, is the very first night, um, Amanda and I sat in that little platform in between the two bedrooms right before the saving ceremony. And I looked at her and I said, you and I are going to work together at some point. It's not going to be right now, but you're smart. I see you and I know you see me. So we had this unspoken silent bond that didn't really get talked about. And then when she actually picked me, we got the chance to kind of connect at a more on a more person to person basis. And not only do I think she's beautiful, I think she's intelligent, and I think she's extremely smart. And she was definitely threatening in that house from a strategy standpoint because she was such a good player. So I think she's great.
Yeah, we saw obviously you get this very close relationship with Alyssa coming in. Tell us how
Yes.
that formed and kind of like the nature of y'all's friendship throughout the game, because that's been very fun to watch.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you. I owe it all to her because she's my Barbie, and I will always be her dollar store Ken. But she wears the pants and I wear the apron and all the things. It's fine. She is probably one of the smartest, kindest, sweetest, most beautiful people that you could ever meet. When I met her out of the box, obviously you knew that when you see somebody in the way that they dress, you see the way that they treat themselves and the way that they think of themselves. So she knew she had power, right? Like you see the way she dressed, you knew that this girl knew who she was. And I knew that people were going to do two things. One, underestimate her just because she's so beautiful. And two, she would be a great friend to have in the house because she looked like she would come from the same neck of the woods that I did, and I was like, you're kind of my people. And it's like those people that you meet and you just feel like you've known them your whole life. Like it was like I was reconnecting with an old friend that I had never met that I missed.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
get
that's so
that. Well,
cool.
that's us.
Yeah.
We're
So
doing the snow and glance. We feel
We
it.
yeah,
get it. We get
We
it.
know that.
yeah. We bonded over wanting to take a shot the second we got off of the bus. I was like, and she's like, "Let's
Also
go,
us.
Awesome.
hoorah!"
Birds of a feather. Um, Frankie, one of the I feel like turning points of the game, obviously, like Katherine was a big character of the season, playing both sides as we saw. It seemed like, she was in with you and Alyssa and Jordan, but it seemed like you were starting to figure out that, she wasn't really loyal to you guys and that she was playing both sides. But I believe, if I recall correctly, when Mayor John was the snake and
Hmm.
interviewed everyone about who they would eliminate if they had the choice. You actually said
Jack.
Jack instead of Catherine. So if you had it your way, was that really who would have gone there? And did you see an avenue to kind of keep Catherine in kind of, in the mix a little bit longer, knowing that she might still work for you a little bit longer?
So Catherine was a very interesting player, right? She's very versed in these types of competition series, right? She literally has watched them, from what I understand, throughout a significant portion of her life, and has almost studied them to a degree. I mean, she was prepared with excerpt from the Survivor instruction manual with like 75 bullet points throughout the season that none
Set
of
on
us
her
knew
phone.
about, but God bless America. Um, I knew that something was off when that moment where Pastor Jacob and Derek are sitting there kind of singing for supper at their moment while Alyssa was the snake and Catherine getting obviously defensive and calling in the troops. It was at that moment I realized, okay, something ain't right here. Because before that, she was making breakfast for everybody. She was saying like, she was this sweet, she was genuinely sweet. She was genuinely a sweet human being. And then watching some of the confessionals play back, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay, okay, John, you knew what you were doing. Deuces.
Yeah. Were you surprised by anything else you saw on the show? Because we have to imagine that Catherine thing is very like it's such a switch up, right? Like than what she's giving y'all and what you see. But is there anybody
Yes.
else who kind of shocked you a little bit watching them now that you've been able to see the game from the outside looking in?
I don't know if shocked is the word, but confirming. Can I use that? Can I
Oh
switch it
yeah.
to it
Sure.
felt confirming. Jack.
Mm,
It felt confirming. He and I, the thing about Jack is a good guy, right? Like if we were outside here, we'd probably have a beer together at the bar and be like, yeah, man, let's shoot the shit. But inside the game, we were playing a very similar game.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like Jack was the golden retriever. I was the lovable black cat. Like we were both playing the kind of same game. Um, so from a strategy perspective, he was the most threatening, but it was confirming watching back some of the confessionals and knowing, okay, so you did see what was going on and you were playing a little bit silly there for a moment, but okay,
mm.
you know?
Ultimately, it works out, whether you eliminate Catherine or Jack in that
Oh yeah.
spot there. Um, I would like to just ask a little bit more about the finale and those last two challenges. Obviously, very stressful situation. We're down to six and we're doing Snake Eyes. This is where we're going to see Detective Derek get eliminated and Brett make his way into the final two there. And then it's clear that the other four are going to play out to see who gets the second spot. So obviously, at this point, you and Alyssa have, as one of the, if not the strongest pair in the game, are realizing that you're not going to be able to, be in the finale together. What was your thought process going into that final challenge, knowing you are fully competing against Alyssa for that last spot, and this is the last chance to kind of secure your spot?
It's hard. It's hard because on one hand, you're like, well, she has to win. She has to make it. So if she didn't make it, I would have probably given up my spot for her to at least compete one more time. You know what I mean? Like There was a few times I was ready to be like, you go ahead of me, you win for the both of us, and we'll have a lot of fun in Mexico or Miami later, and we'll just talk about how much, crap we had to deal with. But knowing that you have to compete against somebody that you care about that much, it's challenging for sure. And I don't think there's any prep work that you could do for it. You kind of just have to walk into it, and you both have to be mature enough to look at each other and go, okay, we knew this was coming. We knew this moment was going to happen. And no matter what, I love you.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so cool. Just watching y'all's friendship throughout was very, very fun. But how has
Yeah.
it been watching the show back with your family? We heard so much
Oof.
about your
Yeah.
families and your story. And I think I don't know, Frankie, do they already know that you're about to win the game? Do they have an inkling or are what's going on?
Okay, so it's obvious that I have a little bit of a mama's boy affliction, right? We all know this. Okay. She is like the same way that I guess I inherit my telepathy from her because she could look at me and she just knows. Like
She knew.
yeah, she's Puerto
Mm.
Rican. You can't hide things from her. You know what I mean? Like there is no way to physically hide something from her. She will find it and she will tell you all about it. So she looked at me when I we were on FaceTime and she just knew. She just knew.
Oh.
And but I didn't confirm anything. There was no confirmation. I was like, Ma, you gotta watch it. Like, Ma, you can't see yet. And then she's
Hmm.
like, mm-hmm. Okay, Poppy. Okay. Like, I don't know. I'm like, and she doesn't. Sometimes when I mimic her, I make her sound like she has like the thick accent. It only comes out every once in a while. She usually just sounds pretty monotone. She's like Snow White with hot sauce. So she kind of like knew because she knows me and she knows when I'm hiding something. But
Hmm.
no, this is going to be an exciting moment for the fam. My dad was very shocked about the rollers.
Oh
He was
yeah.
very he was ve- he was very shocked about the rollers. He's like, Frank, of all the things you do rollers. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, my blow dryer blew up. What'd you want me to do, Dad? And then he's
You
like,
gotta look good.
well, he's like, at least it was funny. I'm like, well, tough, because that's all you got, I mean, this doesn't do itself. And we were in the jungle. What did you want me to do? So,
Frankie, you're very clearly a star. We have to
oh
know
my God, I love you. Thank you.
how you found this show, how this show found you, and has it, lit a fire in you to do another, perhaps another competition reality show in the future? Is this something you would ever do again?
I don't know if I would double click on cockroaches on my head kind of thing. I don't know
Fair.
if
Ooh.
that's on my hey, let's do this again bucket list. Um, but I would love to be able to do more. I thought it was so fun. It was so empowering. It was a great experience. I would love the privilege to do something like this again. Um, Obviously, if we need if I ever had a counterpart, depending on the platform, it would be either Alyssa or John because they already know what's going on. And yeah, I mean, I found that actually my best friend from back home, Jeanette, she works in a co-working office, and that's how the casting director, Caroline, found me through her. She recommended me to the casting director, Caroline asked Jeanette if she knew anybody that was persuasive, that was charming and decent looking for television, and Jeanette's response was Frankie has a beautiful head of hair and he walks in rainbows and glitter comes out of his butt and he's hilarious. So we met, we said, okay, da da da. We had to do several interviews on Zoom because some of the producers felt that they wanted to make sure I wasn't acting for my personality. And that when they told me that, I was like, I don't know whether to be flattered or concerned that you think my personality is fabricated because that means it's a little bit out there. But I knew that. And I was like, okay, well, I guess kooky works in this situation, so thank you. And here we are.
Well, we're lucky
I,
for it.
yeah, you were perfect for this show. I do have one
Yeah.
question about another challenge though. I know you didn't love the cockroaches, but you really were not into the shot collar competition at all. Tell us
No,
about your decision to sit that one out.
no, it's okay. So my mother would have been disgraced. So there's a saying, you treat people how you want to be treated, right? But there's
Mm.
also another saying, treat people the way they want to be treated. And that's how you can connect with people a little bit easier. And I don't think anybody wants to be electrocuted, hurt, or shocked.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's on anybody's bucket list. Maybe Christian Gray's in the red room, but maybe not anybody else kind of thing. And I'm not signing up for that class. So here you are. I was like, no, we're not doing this. Well, I'm not doing this. I don't want to inflict pain on anybody.
Mm.
You can't pay me to do that. That's not in my wheelhouse. I mean, I'm more of a romance novel kind of guy versus more Street Fighter, if you feel my vibe. So,
Mhm.
like, I'm not sitting here looking like, yeah, let me zap you for any amount of money. That's just, I my mother raised me better than that.
Did you ever find out what the advantage that you would have had that John left you? No,
No, no, they
didn't
didn't. It was
matter.
non-transfer. Yeah, it was non-transferable, and it was also like they wouldn't tell you what it was. I can
Yeah.
speculate and say that it might be like a second life kind of thing. Like if you
Mm.
got shocked once and then guessed wrong, like that, because that's what happened in the Mongoose Challenge. So if we're
Right.
looking at patterns, I would speculate that'd be the
Hmm.
advantage. But besides that speculation, I have no idea what it could have been. And like you said, nor did I really care. Yeah.
Totally get it.
Mm.
Yeah. Speaking of challenges, the last question we have, because Jenny kind of touched on it a little bit, but you
Uh-huh.
really hurt your leg in this challenge.
Mm.
What explain? Because it felt like they weren't going to stop the challenge for you to figure out your leg situation. What was going on?
Mm.
So the edit makes it did hurt. It did hurt. That's not a lie. But I think that I just told myself I was gonna do it.
Mm,
I think that's what happened. I think I just told
Adrenaline.
myself I was gonna do it. I don't remember the sequence of events. Like my whole recollection of that is a little bit fuzzy. I know that sounds crazy, but I think because of the extreme heat, the extended fatigue and the high cortisol levels, my brain was just on autopilot kind of vibe. So I don't remember everything of that day, if I'm being honest. Um, what I do remember, I'm not sure the sequencing was the same,
mm,
but what I can say is it hurt, and I had a choice, and I just said do it.
yeah, yeah. Incredible.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
One when it mattered, right?
Listen, it was my last chance to win one of them. I was like, you gotta. I mean, John's giving me all his medallions. I still lose. Then I see him wanting the mongoose, and I'm like, I can't take this from this guy. He wants it so bad, so I got to. And I made him so happy, so I couldn't win. I wasn't gonna win that one. Then this was the last chance. It was either you win this or you go home with your thumb up your coolie. And I said, you might as well try. Like, do it. Like do the damn thing. And then when I felt the pop, I was like, oh man. And I was like, just do it.
Yeah. I think Jenny had a question about your connections with other people. Was it something like I think we
Oh,
ta kind of
cool.
talked it through when we were wondering.
Who
Yeah,
we
just
wondering?
like well, so you had great relationships with basically everyone. Obviously, you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about, people that you saw as potential threats to your game in Brett and Jack. Was there anyone that you didn't have the ability to work your magic on? Because I know it's effort, it is truly who you are, and that is what made you
Thank you.
so impactful. But was there anyone in the game where you were just like, I don't know what it is, but I'm just not getting the vibes with this person?
So here's the beauty about being what we'll objectively refer to for the sake of this conversation as charming. Um, Nobody ever really knows what card you're holding in your chest, and you keep it that way kind of vibe because it works better for everybody. I will say that there are some personalities that meld better with others. I personally work best with those that are forthright, honest, loyal, straightforward, funny, good sense of humor kind of vibes. If you tend to be somebody that leans a little bit more into deception, manipulation for self gain, and especially emotional manipulation when you turn on the waterworks for your own personal gain at any drop of a hat, almost similar to somebody that might need a little bit of extra attention from somebody with an MD at the end of their name. Um, certain personalities work better with others. And I would say, yes, I was friendly with everybody in the house, but throughout the show, you definitely see that I've been better equipped to form more closer relationships with others. And I think they, without throwing anybody under the bus. I want to make sure that I answer this as gracefully as possible. So I'm gonna let that marinate right there.
That's perfect. It just wanted to know is like if there was someone that it just wasn't feeling exactly like the right fit. That's all. So that's
Yeah.
great.
The only other person that I would have wished stayed a little bit extra time. I mean, not the only other one, but one that really stung that it didn't really get to get enough time to fall. Cody.
Mm,
Cowboy Cody. What a gem of a human being.
okay. All right. Frankie, this is my last question.
Tell me.
Where can the people find you and keep up with
Yes.
what you're got going
Oh,
on?
the
Because you
people.
have fans. The people want to
The
know, Frankie, where
Oh,
you
people.
the
at?
people.
The
Oh, the
people.
people. We want to meet all the people. Yes. No, that's hilarious. I love that. I love the fact that we're calling that we think I have fans.
You
I love
have
this.
fans. You
You
Oh,
do,
have
you are so
Frankie.
sweet.
fans.
You are so
Two right
sweet.
here. You got two fans
You're
right
Yeah.
here.
well. Thank you. Thank you. You know what? And I'm fans of both of you. So you have another 17 up here. Uh, to, that you can find me on socials. It's the Frank Joseph. All one word. Ta-da.
All right. Thank you so much, Frankie. This has been amazing.
Yeah, congratulations again.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was Frankie, the winner of season 1 of The Snake. To keep up with more of our coverage of various reality TV shows, please subscribe to the We Know Reality TV podcast feed on WeKnowRealityTV.com. Peace.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.